Alright, so today we're going to talk about how to build the best budget pit bike. And, you know, these Honda CRF 70s, they're kind of what you want if you're going to do a budget build and you want to keep up with the 110s and race them and do it for a lot cheaper. These are the things to get, because you can pick one of these up here in Canada from anywhere from $1,100 to $1,400 if you really look hard. Alright, so there's two different routes you can really go with one of these 70 budget builds. You can go the way I went on the yellow one here, or the way Zach went. And don't mind the graphics or anything, because that has nothing to do with any of this. But we'll start out with this one because it was a lot cheaper. He's about $2,000 in it now. And basically, all we've done is we put BMX bars on it. We put a race cam in the engine. Super easy to do. They're $50, right? We've put stiffer fork oil in the front. Okay, I think it's 20 weight, and got a used stock shock out of a KLX 110, and because the Honda geometry is different in the rear suspension, it actually stiffened it up and made it kind of perfect. It's actually a little stiff, believe it or not, even though it's a stock shock, I know, out of another bike, but the geometry is different, so it stiffens it up in this bike. They're also running one of those 1-inch spacers off of Amazon that are $4. And then he got the silver bullet exhaust system off of Amazon. I think it's $60. You want to get rid of the air box and run a TB Parts air filter. Those ones are the best, those little pancake ones. And on this bike we're running a Chinese rev box off of AliExpress. It was $15. And other than that, it's just small stuff like this brake cable, extended brake cable because of the bars and the added height in the front. And then to get your front end to match the height of the rear, once you put the 1-inch spacer, what you're going to want to do is take one of these bolts out, go to the hardware store or bolt store, whatever you want, get bolts that are an inch longer. Find yourself a nut and some washers to space it out exactly an inch. And then for the hole up there, you can buy an inset washer that has a sleeve that goes down to give it some extra strength. But we've been running them like this for a couple years and have had zero issues at all. It's because you can't get dampening rods for these things anymore to raise it that inch, so that's a way to do it. The only other really thing I can see that we've done is just this TB Parts throttle and a new cable. But he's, like I said, I think he's just under $2,000 in this. And this thing gets down, you know, it stays right with 110s, except for like mid-range, because you don't have that fourth gear, so you have a little bit of a doggy spot in the middle that you don't have with the 110s because they have different gear ratios. And for sprockets on this, we're running a 14 and I think a 36. Sorry, a 15 and a 36 on this one. No, we did change it to a 14. And it works really well. But if you want to go one step farther, you come over to this thing. So I've done all the same stuff with my front end, right? And I got an actual FMF exhaust on there, but it's for a Honda 50. So it's a little shorter, but it fits, and you save 100 and something bucks doing that. For a shock, you run the D&M shock. You can get them in a couple different weight classes. They're pretty cheap. Sometimes you can get them for 130 bucks. And like I said, all these prices are Canadian. It's got the TB Parts 88 big bore with the race cam, and running that same filter, an extended brake pedal from TB Parts as well. It's 1-inch extended. The big differences between Zach's bike and mine is I'm running a tall seat. That makes a big difference. A little bit taller of a handlebar. And I'm running a HD clutch from TB Parts. Still semi-auto, it's just a heavier duty clutch. And it's actually a clutch for a 50. And I've changed the primary gearing. And what that does is it gives you a lot more bottom end power and makes your gears a little bit more useful as well. And behind that I'm running a 14 tooth sprocket and a 30 36. Sorry, Zach, I didn't mean to drop my bike on yours. But anywho's, then I've got a BBR swing arm. Those are expensive. You do not need that, but man, does it make a difference, I tell you. It's about 880 bucks, I think, shipped to Canada by the time you convert it from USD to CAD. Basically, this bike's just your next step in the whole budget pit bike build thing. This one has about 3,000 into it with buying it, and this one has about 2,000 into it with buying it. Just to put that into perspective for you, if you go buy a used 110 where I live, you're $2,500 to $3,000 just for a completely stock bike. Then you've got to do suspension front and rear, right? You've got to put bigger foot pegs 90% of the time, taller bars. Then with taller bars comes cables, throttle cable, brake cable. You might as well upgrade your throttle while you're at it. And then if you want to do any power mods, that's even more. So to do a cheap build on a 110 where I live, you're going to be $4,500 or $5,000. And it's not going to be anywhere near like riding this for $3,000. You know, it'll be more like riding this $2,000 build. And this is just so much cheaper. That's why these are the ultimate pit bike, especially if you're on a budget. This KLX 110, it's got plastics, graphics, a seat cover, an FMF exhaust, and an aftermarket shifter. Okay, rear shock and dampening rods in the front. $8,000 into that bike. It's crazy. That's just how much it costs, right? And then another good budget bike is one of these Apollo RFZ 125s. You can pretty much run them completely stock. They're just not super reliable, but you know, you can buy this whole bike for 700 bucks. And they work pretty not too bad. They're fast, but you can tell they're made cheap. This thing breaks something just about every time it goes out. Anyways though, boys, you know, that's about it for this video. I don't think there's much more information I can give you. Like I said, any more questions, ask me in the comments and I can let you know what's going on. But yeah, CRF70 is the best, absolute best budget pit bike you could ever buy. Thanks for watching. Saganara's signing off.